Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Fan Talk, your favorite podcast produced by your favorite fan. That's me, Kyle Brenchley, otherwise known as K. Brench, as some people call me. We're back. It's Wednesday. It is the day before Thanksgiving. Holy cow, can you guys believe it? November, it's already over. Thanksgiving's going to be here. Next thing you know, it's going to be Christmas, and then the new year, and 2024. I had never even fathomed that 2024 would ever be a year that I experienced, but it is coming. Thanksgiving, hope you guys have some awesome plans. We have a great show today. We'll be talking some Thanksgiving things. As always, go check out my all my links down in the description below. Fan Talk is a podcast found on iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Spotify. Go hit me up. Feel free to subscribe and tell your friends. I appreciate the support. It's a good time. And we will have just that, just a great time. Today's episode, we'll be talking some college football. We'll be talking the updated college football rankings, as well as we're entering rivalry week. It is the last week of regular season play for college football. So we'll talk that. We'll talk the college football rankings. I'll kind of talk about my experience going to the Oklahoma BYU football game last Saturday. And then we'll talk about the Denver Broncos and how they're flipping the script and flipping their season around. And then, of course, we'll get to our NFL picks as always. Again, thank you guys so much for listening or watching Fan Talk. This is a podcast that you can find iHeartRadio, YouTube, Spotify. Go hit me up. Go check me out. And let's get rocking and rolling. So let's jump right in. Thanksgiving is tomorrow. We all love Thanksgiving. So I rank the top 5 favorite holidays. Thanksgiving is ranked number 3 for me. So my top 5 favorite holidays goes as follows. Number 5, Super Bowl Sunday. That one's an unofficial holiday, but here in the United States, it is as much a holiday as any other holiday. People gather together, they eat food, they have a common purpose, it unites people, and millions of people do it and watch it. So, number 5, Super Bowl Sunday. Number 4, the 4th of July or Independence Day. I love a good barbecue, some fireworks. Same thing, family and friends are around. It's warm out. You can wear your patriotic colors. It's just a great day to remember the United States and its country and all the good things that have come from that. Number 3, Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving because there's food, family, friends, football, the 4 F's of Thanksgiving, that's what I like to say. Some great Thanksgiving football games. There's Turkey Bowl. You guys doing a Turkey Bowl? Let me know down below if you are. My family does a Turkey Bowl every year, and it's really fun. Number 2, Christmas. I mean, that's just the most popular holiday, so, how do you not choose Christmas? And then number 1, my favorite holiday is Halloween. Nothing better than dressing up and pretending to be someone else, being something else for one night of the year where it doesn't matter, no judgment, candy galore, party time, let's go. So, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to watch the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving today, and then I'm going to gorge myself with food and watch football all day tomorrow. Those are my plans. Let me know your plans down below. But let's talk college football playoff rankings. A new one came out, obviously, yesterday. They come out every Tuesday. And this is the top 4 going into rivalry week, the last week of the college football season. So, number 1, we have Georgia. Georgia's still up there, number 1. They have the longest winning streak. They haven't lost since the 2021 season, I believe. So, they're cooking. Ohio State's number 2. They have jumped Michigan. Michigan's number 3. And Washington is now number 4. And I think the biggest reason for this is Washington, Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, and Florida State are all undefeated. But Florida State lost their star quarterback, Jordan Travis, to a nasty leg injury in a game that frankly didn't matter. Who were they playing? They were playing some no-name team. I think it was North Alabama. And they were up by 50 points or so. And then Travis gets hurt. And so you're like, oh, I mean, sure, you start him in the game. You don't just throw another rando guy out there to start. But if I were Florida State, I would have kept Jordan Travis in for 1 quarter. 1 quarter. Maybe the half, but 1 quarter. Because you never know when an injury is going to come. And especially against a cupcake team where you really don't need him. that's just a big blow to the Florida State football program and their college football hopes, because now Washington is the number 4 spot, and with a win this week and then a win in the Pac-12 championship, pretty much solidifies their spot in the college football playoff. Unless Oregon beats them, then some sort of conversation must be had. So the teams on the outside looking in, I'd say probably the 4 teams that have a legitimate shot that are on the outside looking in. Number 5, Florida State. Number 6, Oregon. Number 7, Texas. And number 8, Alabama. Those teams all either have 0 losses or 1 loss. So pending how things go, like if Alabama wins the SEC and beats Georgia, do they get in? If Texas goes undefeated, do they get in? If Washington loses, who gets in? Does Oregon get in? Does Florida State get in? A lot of questions, not a lot of answers until it actually happens. So let's take a peek at what kind of big games are happening this week in college football. Like I said, it is rivalry week, so there will be a lot of those fun games between rivals that will be happening this week that will really determine the outcome, not just for the college football playoff, but for bowl eligibility as well. There's a lot of teams that are sitting at 5 and 6 who are hoping to get a bowl game, and a victory is essentially what they need. So let's start with Thursday night, Thanksgiving night. This game probably won't be watched as much because there's NFL games going on, but we have Ole Miss against Mississippi State, the good old Egg Bowl. Ole Miss has had a pretty decent year. They're 9-2. Mississippi State is 5 and 6. They're looking for a win so they can get bowl eligible and they can beat their rival. So that one's not a lot of things weighing on that game, but still a fun one to watch. And then Black Friday, there's a whole slate of games. Oklahoma's playing TCU. I was at the Oklahoma game on Saturday. They played down in Provo at BYU. Really fun game, really fun atmosphere. A lot of Oklahoma fans there. A lot closer than a lot of people thought. Dylan Gabriel got knocked out with a concussion in the first half. BYU was able to run the ball really well and limit the backup Jackson Arnold, Oklahoma, a lot. And pretty much what decided the game was a 100-yard pick six by my boy Billy Bowman Jr. I was so loud at that moment. I was going crazy. I was in a section of all BYU fans, and I was just losing it. Good times. Oklahoma, really the only way Oklahoma can get into the Big 12 championship game is if Texas loses and Oklahoma State loses. That way Oklahoma has, the tiebreaker over both of them. But it's not likely. Oklahoma State plays BYU and Texas plays Texas Tech. Some other games going on. Texas Tech and Texas, like I said, they play on Black Friday. Texas is looking pretty much with a win. They lock up the Big 12 championship game. Oregon State, that will be a big one. Obviously rivals, but Oregon needs a win to stay alive in the Pac-12 championship conversation. Ohio State and Michigan. Now this is the big game, big implications. The winner is in. I don't care what anyone says. The winner is into the college football playoff. The loser probably still is as well. Just because they're two of the best teams, if not the two best teams. Louisville, Kentucky, that'll be a fun one. The Iron Bowl, Alabama and Auburn. Alabama needs a win to stay alive. Arizona State, that's a fun one. BYU, Oklahoma State, Washington, and Washington State. This one's big because Washington State with a win is bowl eligible. Washington with a win is pretty much in. With a loss, it kind of shakes things up and the conversation gets a little trickier. Florida State, same thing. Florida with a win gets bowl eligible. Florida State needs a win. I think if Florida State loses, then they're definitely out of the conversation. We'll see how they play without Jordan Travis. Should be interesting. Georgia Tech, that's a classic one. I don't think Georgia will have any problems there. And North Carolina State, North Carolina. Yeah, so there's some fun games going on this week. Championship week, or rivalry weekend is what they call it. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how the college football playoff rankings shake out. Again, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Washington is what it would be if it started today. Okay, there's my college football spiel. We'll skip NBA and NHL and MLS again this week, and we'll jump right to the NFL because I have something to say about my boys, the Denver Broncos. Here we go, ride or die. Here's my Super Bowl ring that I'm repping again because they won their fourth game in a row, which is something they have not done since the 2016 season. Now, take a moment and think, what were you doing in 2016? It was 7 years ago. I was a senior in high school. It was my senior year. The quarterback for the Broncos, Trevor Siemian. Does that name ring a bell? His name's kind of in the news. He is now the new backup for the New York Jets behind Tim Boyle, now that Zach Wilson's been kicked to the QB3. They still had Darian Stewart, Von Miller, Chris Harris Jr., Aqib Talib. You guys, TJ Ward, you remember those guys? Derek Wolfe, all those guys were still on the team. This was a team coming off a Super Bowl win. Super Bowl year, and they come off, Peyton Manning retires, new quarterback. They go 9-7, things don't go as planned, and it's the beginning of the end. Now, we're looking at a rebirth, a resurgence. The Broncos haven't had a winning record since that 2016 season. Last year, they went 5-12. The year before 7-10, the year before 5-11. They haven't gotten more than 7 wins in 7 years. But Sunday Night Football, the lights are bright, the jerseys are blue. Russell Wilson against Josh Dobbs, and let me just say, Josh Dobbs, he's a good player. He's playing really good. He's in good hands in Minnesota. Minnesota is sitting pretty for the rest of the season. I think Minnesota makes the playoffs. Their future with Kirk Cousins, I don't think they'll move on from him necessarily. But Josh Dobbs is a very good fill-in, very good for that team. The defense has stepped up. Justin Jefferson will be back in a week or so. So they're sitting pretty there in the NFC. And for the most part of the game, the Minnesota Vikings dominated that game. What kept Denver in it was turnovers. Denver recovered 2 fumbles. One of them was on the first possession of the game. Nate McMillan, you're a dog. And then they had a late game interception as well. And then Russell Wilson kicked it into gear as he did last week in Buffalo, led a drive all the way down and won the game. A beautiful pass to Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton, jump ball, he's going to win that 10 times out of 10. Cortland Sutton is going to be the godfather of my children, mark my words. And Denver goes up by 1. They failed a 2-point conversion. And their defense steps up again. Justin Simmons, big plays, knocking those balls away from Hawkinson. An intentional grounding penalty helped out. And eventually, Minnesota ran out of gas and couldn't do anything. And they stopped on 4th down, and Denver wins for their 4th in a row to go 5-5. So, Broncos country, let's ride. Big game against Cleveland coming up. And with that, let's jump into the picks. Let's talk some Week 12 NFL picks. We have some fun ones going on this week. We have Thanksgiving games. We have 3 of them. So let's talk about the Thanksgiving games real quick as I log in to my computer here. So the first one will be the Green Bay Packers at the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, incredible comeback against the Bears, but they really shouldn't have been in that position against the Bears. Packers coming off a huge win against the Chargers. Packers not dead yet, but this game is in Detroit. The Lions play in Detroit every Thanksgiving. They're a good team. I like them 8-2 to keep winning. Give me the Lions. And the next game, of course, the Cowboys. The Cowboys always play on Thanksgiving as well. The Detroit Lions and the Cowboys are always the ones that play on Thanksgiving. They have the Commanders coming to town. I like the Cowboys in this one. Their offense has been really good. You can argue that they've played some crappy teams in the last couple weeks, but the Commanders are coming off a loss against the Giants. I think Ron Rivera is out after this game when they dropped to 4-8. Sam Howell, he's their guy though, so hopefully they can figure it out next year. But for this year, give me the Cowboys. And then the Sunday night game, or the Thursday night game, should be really fun. The San Francisco 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks. I like the 49ers in this one because it looks like they've kind of found their groove again. Even when you lose 3 in a row, it's easy to give up on a team, but it's easy to forget as well that this team is solid. Probably the second best team in the NFC. Seahawks, Geno Smith is questionable. If they roll with Drew Lock, then they're definitely under the bus. I know from his days in Denver, his poor decision-making. So give me the 49ers. And then, for the first time ever, Black Friday game. That's kind of cool for the NFL to do that. It's all about money, though, so it'll be on Amazon Prime. This is the Miami Dolphins visiting the New York Jets. Obviously, you guys know the big news out of New York is that Zach Wilson is benched. Not is he just benched, he is relegated down to QB3. They're going to roll with Tim Boyle. They activated Trevor Siemian, as I mentioned earlier. So I don't think that will change anything. I think there's so many problems with the Jets, it's hard to just say it's Zach Wilson, but there still is a big responsibility that he should take. He's just not that good, and Tim Boyle is definitely not any better than Zach Wilson, so I don't think anything's going to change. Give me the Dolphins. And now we are to Sunday games. You got the New Orleans Saints at the Atlanta Falcons. I thought the Falcons would be decent this year. A lot of people were high on the Falcons, but I just think the Saints are a better team. I think the Falcons are in trouble because they don't have a quarterback. Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke stepped in. Arthur Smith, he's a good guy, but give me the Saints. Now this is interesting. Pittsburgh Steelers at Cincinnati Bengals. Two big stories coming out of these teams. Pittsburgh Steelers fired their offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, who had a historically bad tenure as the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's incredible that they're 6-4 when the Steelers were literally scoring 10, 13 points a game. That just shows how good their defense is. And defense does win championships, but with a quarterback like Kenny Pickett and an offensive coordinator like Matt Canada, they weren't going anywhere. And I don't think they will. I think they'll actually miss the playoffs this year. And on the other side, the Bengals, big story there. Joe Burrow out for the season. That's a bummer. Kind of a underwhelming year up to this point. Jake Browning will step in. This game is in Cincinnati. Ultimately, it's going to be one of those games where Pittsburgh wins just because they have the better defense. Their offense stinks. Bengals will struggle on offense, but Pittsburgh has better defense, so they will win. Give me the Steelers. Next matchup, here's the barn burner of the week. There's always one. Carolina Panthers at Tennessee Titans. Panthers are abysmal. The Titans are not good either. I told you at the beginning of the year that no one would talk about the Titans ever, and that has come to pass. That's the one thing I've predicted correctly. This game is in Tennessee, so yeah, give me the Titans. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Indianapolis Colts. I am going to pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're a tough team. Like, they're in every game. Like, Baker Mayfield makes mistakes and they can't capitalize, and ultimately that will keep them out of the playoffs. But the Indianapolis Colts are turnover prone with Gardner Minshew at the helm. So I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this one. Go Bucks! Another barn burner, the Patriots at the New York Giants. Giants coming off a huge win against the Commanders. Patriots look horrible, but Bill Belichick has his way with rookie quarterbacks. Danny DeVito might have some issues with this Patriots defense, so give me the Patriots. Ooh, this might be game of the week. Jaguars at Texans. Both are fighting. Pretty much winner gets the AFC South, or gets on top of the AFC South division. The Houston Texans had beat the Jaguars earlier in the year, and I think they will again. So give me the Houston Texans, although I will be rooting for the Jacksonville Jaguars for the sake of the Denver Broncos playoff hopes. And speak of the devil, here's the Denver Broncos. Cleveland Browns at Denver Broncos. Ultimately, the Cleveland Browns are just like the Steelers. Really good defense, not great offense. And so what will come down to it is, can the Broncos score? Can the Broncos score? And can they stop the run of Cleveland? Cleveland really is the best rushing team in the league. That's what they have going for them. Kevin Stefanski is a good coach. I like the Broncos at home, though. They're on a roll. Sean Payton's got things figured out. Russell Wilson can only get better at this point. So give me the Denver Broncos. Broncos country. Let's ride. Rams at Cardinals. I like the Cardinals in this one. The Rams came off a big win, but I think Kyler Murray bounces back, and I think the Cardinals win. Simple as that. Chiefs at Raiders. Give me the Chiefs. Nice catch. Marquez Valdez-Scantling. That's all I got to say. Nice catch. He didn't catch it if you didn't see the game. He dropped the game-winning touchdown, and they lost to the Eagles. Bills visiting the Eagles. Give me the Eagles. It'll be a shootout, but I think the Eagles are just a better team. Ravens at Chargers. Give me the Ravens. I think the Chargers are on their way out. Brandon Staley's gone if they lose this game, and their playoff hopes are up in smoke, which is a shame because Justin Herbert's a good guy, and he's been on my fantasy team for a couple of years, and I like him. Bears at Vikings for Monday night. Give me the Vikings. I like the Vikings in this one. They're a good team. Like I said, 6-5. I think that they will continue to roll and will win this one, going 7-5, and maybe give Minnesota or Detroit run for their money. Maybe not. But those are my picks for this week, week 12 in the NFL. Again, happy Thanksgiving. If you don't have anyone to spend it with your dog, spend it with your cat, or somebody you care about. It doesn't have to be family. Just somebody you love, somebody that's there for you. And eat a lot of turkey. Enjoy your turkey bowl. Don't pull a hammy. Enjoy some football. Enjoy this weekend. Go crazy at Black Friday shopping. I think I've said everything I need to say. So thank you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Fan Talk. This is a podcast by me, Kyle Brenchley, your favorite fan. You can find me on YouTube, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, as well as Twitter and Instagram by searching Kyle Brenchley. Thank you guys so much. Have a great Thanksgiving. We'll see ya next time. Let's ride.